What did I learn this weekend? Well, I haven't really been. I know it's kind of an off night, and this one chick, she kind of like told me, right? She's like, I'm gonna go to my boyfriend. I got a little upset about that because like, I was just having an off night, right? But then in hindsight, it's just like I look like you're a five. I'm the man stunner, and you like look like something I wipe my ass with. So it's like that's quite alright. Like you're like nothing special. Like you're like a five tops, right? Like a 5 foot nothing, and like trying to act. But that's the thing about that club I go to. It's kind of a niche thing. I like it. I love the music and the vibe. They're kind of cliquey and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. It is a very niche underground thing. But I'm gonna have to start going around to other places and stuff like that and exploring what different things. Like, I love the whole goth rock indie. Well, not really indie, more like adult, the alternative shit. But like when I went to the After Hours Club, I was like, fuck, what was I fucking worried about? But I was like, too tired though. But like I had these like chicks just bouncing around like fucking like no tomorrow, like with those titties. I like. I am a big boob man, right? There's no two ways about that. I can't deny that. And we need to stop, catering just to this skinny model physique, right? If I do my own runway show, all my chicks are gonna have huge tits. It's just the way it is. Like skinny model chicks with huge tits. We have to embrace. It's like embracing cosmetic, like modern surgery and braces and stuff like that. It's just one of those things we do. It's like not a big deal. When you're like, I already went over that. See rant appendix B. But now it's started going. If I have Her Highness's permission, like I know I've deeply offended the Queen of the North, right? And we all know who I'm talking about there. So, um, I'll have to run around to see what happens, right? But if that's as okay with Her Highness, and if I have the Queen of the North's permission, so we'll have to make sure I don't offend the Queen of the North too much, or it's off with my head. Well, but as we all know, I bow before no one, so we'll see how that one goes. But it was actually cool seeing her, anyways. She's quite a beautiful woman. I never thing is, she always said this was just wrap this rant up really quick. She always had this kind of cool, kind of jazz personality that we used to listen to. I never knew she was like really more fun in real life. I never knew she was like really so funny and interesting, right? She's actually quite an interesting woman, right? So we'll see where that one goes, right? She is like for a radio DJ, she is fucking always was pretty fucking hot. Where I was like, you're like I don't know, I guess I don't know if that's just the way things work, but yeah, it's so we'll see how that goes. So hopefully, if it gives Her Highness permission, I can go around and chase her around other ass if that's okay, if that's all right, if we have her permission. Another thing, like people are like, oh, he's this generation Mick Jagger. Let me, I have like I think Kurt Cobain put it the best. Like I have a lot of personalities and influences that kind of affect me, right? Kind of influence me and stuff like that. I think Lemmy Kitchener's awesome. I think Mick Jagger's cool. I also think Brad Pitt and Keanu Reeves and all those guys are cool too, right? But at the end of the day, what you see is what you're gonna get, right? This is I'm more than comfortable in my own skin being me. Sure, I have predecessors, like Brad Pitt and what was the other fucking guy, Robert Redford. You can see that, right? But at the end of the day, I'm only going to be myself, right? And I encourage other people to just be yourself. It's like like Andrew Schneer, how he gave that big well, that's just them. They're not hurting anyone. Excuse me. And they're not. They're not hurting me or nothing like that. So what the fuck do I care, right? It's just like they're usually pretty feminine type people. So I don't really give a shit. So, like like I said, I don't mind the gay people, right? But just like keep your fucking hands off me. Like I'll treat you like a normal person though, but like sometimes you just guys get a little carried away yourself. Just because I'm being respectful of you and treating you like a person doesn't mean like I'm into your fucking scene and you bloody well know that. But yeah, so just like you just remember. Each and every one of us is only 1 in 300 billion or some crap like that, right? I read that. So, at the end of the day, I'm just going to be me, right? This is like, what you're hearing right coming out of my mouth is me. It's not a character. It's nothing I'm playing, right? This is me. This, like, I can do other things too, but, it just depends what mood I'm in and what kind of environment I'm in, right? But, like, right now, I'm just chilled right the fuck out, right? I'm just Sunday fun day, winding down, getting ready for the work week. That's what Sundays are for, right? Their Sundays are not really like I don't know. I don't really think Sunday's a good day for drinking. It's like a good day to watch a football game, right? You know, if I had some kids, or if I was married and had some kids or something, just per se, you know, I'd take them to the park or do some shit like that, right? Cool stuff like that. You know, whatever the hell you do on your Sundays. But it's Sunday is like, you know, the church day, or, you know, it's your day to wind down. I go see a movie. Like I said, I went and saw Ad Astra. Probably next week I'll go see Rambo. But like I said, everything's coming to the digital screen anyways, right? I'm gonna miss those. Well, I still like to go to the theater, right? Because it's kind of a different experience, right? Except for those little idiot kids wouldn't shut the fuck up. But that's another story. That's another little story. When you're in the theater, it's not like being at home, kiddies. We expect you to be quiet and enjoy the show. Maybe a little here and there, but for the most part, we expect you to shut the fuck up. If you guys kept on talking, I probably would have either grabbed you by the ear or went over there, you know, and told you to shut the fuck up, or just, I don't know what the fuck. You guys would really piss me the fuck off. But, so yeah, that's another app. I guess it's true. I can just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk for hours about anything. Just, you know, whimsical of knowledge and hot. What is it? I'm like Zeppelin Blue. And, I don't know. What am I looking for? I'm more like a airbag. Hot air. I can't even think. I'm kind of tired. An airbag, you know, blowhard conservative, I guess. That's what I am. Like, I'm a libertarian, like, I'm kind of a bastardized conservative, right, you know. Which is kind of originally gets back to the original things, is protecting humans' individual rights and stuff like that. Like, but hey, you know, like, Justin Trudeau, like, bringing all these fucking Muslims and shit over in here. It's like, you know, all this mass immigration. Well, what about my fucking rights, right? And eventually those just change the whole dynamic of Canada and stuff like that, so... Maxime Bernier all the way. He'll stop that shit. It's like, fuck. That's why I believe in selective immigration. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm saying I'm not anti-immigrant, but, you know, you just can't flood the market, right? With people, like, we don't have enough. We're having a housing crisis as it is, and you want to bring all kinds of fucking people in now. I can start automating those jobs, right? Or, you know, like, we need skilled people, skilled labor. Like, you know, just not anyone, right? That only makes sense to me. Just, you know, bring in, you know, quality people, right? Like, to bring in all these Syrian refugees, that was stupid. Just send them back. Actually, if Maxime Bernier gets in, I'm hoping that, you know, I'm finger crossed. Like, you know, those polls say one thing, but I'm thinking another thing, right? They said that about Donald Trump too, so that's a little bullshit. What was I gonna say? I hope he re-examines all the immigration papers that have been, all the immigration visas that have been issued over the past 4 years, because we really need to, you know, send a lot of those fucking people back, right? So where they came from, because it was too much, too fast, and that's that, right? You know, this is a British Commonwealth, right? British law, British rules, and we're, you know, like, there's no British Isles Festival downtown, but there's all these other fucking things. You can get fucked, right? I don't have a problem with a lot of those other things, but my British Isles Festival is not downtown. Fuck you, man. That's the staple. It's like the street names are Adelaide and Addison and all kinds of shit like that, and Yonge Street, Danforth, and, you know, like, those are fucking English names, right? So we want to, you know, definitely start like, they celebrate every fucking other thing under the sun. This country was founded by the French and the English and Scottish. And I guess Irish too, they do. But, you know, we need to start really emphasizing, you know, that kind of culture and stuff like that, because that's what made this place great, you know. So we need to start, you know, celebrating that more, right? Not pushing that aside to everything else's thing. We need to start celebrating that, because we celebrate Caravannas, this and that, but English culture is great, man. Like, all these, I look into Hamilton, I see all these beautiful, Niagara, I see all these beautiful bridges and stonework and stuff like that, remnants from, like, an earlier age, right? But it's beautiful. I'd love to bring that kind of stuff back into the mainstream, right? Because it's, you know, that neo-Gothic thing I talked about, you know, kind of Art Deco with, you know, kind of Gothic stonework and, you know, Victorian English style stonework, or whatever, medieval style. I love that shit. So we'll have to see how that goes. But, you know, that's that's part of our heritage here in Canada. Like, it's like, remember, like, at the same time, it is an ideology, but that's like nothing to be laughed at or mocked, right? That's a big important part of what this country is, right? Where like it is a British Commonwealth, so don't start thinking bringing all these fucking mass people over, right? I mean, a lot of like, hey, the Italians come here and fuck, I don't have a problem. They came here first, they took a while to get in, but now they're just like part of Canada, right? Like the Italians and the Europeans, like like a lot of Ukrainians came over here in the originally too, right? But now they're part of Canada, and that's yeah, it's part of like the melting pot of this Canada. It takes a lot of different cultures. Like it's not just, but like that's a big part of it. We're kind of pissed off about that, right? Uh, it takes a lot of, but like a lot of cultures, like they've blended in nicely, right? Like they just came here in the '50s and work, and now look at Vaughan. They have the city of Vaughan, right? It's like they're very organized people. I'll give them that, right? They do really well in the construction industry. Um, but they just for the most part, I guess they had the Johnny Lombardo thing that kind of started the whole fucking bullshit. But for the most part, they just shut the fuck up and don't really fucking bitch too much, right? They're all right. But a lot of all these other things, like well, just like all I can say, like they're Canadian, but they're Italian Canadian, right? Just like the thing is, you got to emphasize on being Canadian, right? Be proud of where your ancestral heritage, which I am. It's like and I'm a little pissed off about that. I'm very proud of that. But be fucking Canadian, right? This is not gonna be like as for Ardor Circanian, wearing a sari. No, honey, like we don't wear those things. We wear kilts and stuff like that on special days and stuff like that. But when you're wearing your stories and stuff like that, this is Canada. It's not fucking India. Wear that on like cultural celebrations and stuff like that. But that's it, right? You should be wearing like don't be you're not even Indian, so don't wear that shit. Like you're Armenian, honey. You're European. Fuck off. But that's especially like hey, and at the same point, I love Indian food. To tell you the truth, it's like the new Chinese food. It's like a flavor in your mouth, blah blah blah. It's quite a unique thing, right? It's stuff to explore, but the same thing, like that Lily Singh, whatever. She's Indo-Canadian, right? India's a British Commonwealth, right? And they know that, right? That's how they can get over here so quickly. But I haven't watched her show yet, but be Canadian, right? Like let's all you gotta start to instead of all these barriers that Justin Trudeau or what's his name? I can't even remember his dad's name. Pierre Elliott Trudeau put out with multiculturalism, melting pot. It's okay in small amounts, sure, because it adds to the melting pot, just seasoning and spices and stuff like that, right? But we're all coming together to be Canadian to form this new cultural identity, right? I kind of contradict myself there, but whatever. Um, but we're all coming together as one thing because we all come from different places, Hungary and blah blah blah. And I like learning about stuff like that, but I am a little pissed off about my British heritage getting fucking mocked like that, kind of cast the fucking wayside. But like I said, they all think we're all Canadian. Little like multiculturalism does not work because it's almost like a culture trying to assimilate and take over. But if you want to add to our melting pot, it's much better. Like we love Chinese food. Like I see the things like it'll be written in Chinese. I'm iffy on that, but it's written in English underneath, right? So that's fine. They respect it, right? Because it's like Toronto's an English speaking culture. And that's fair enough, right? Because they've been coming here for hundreds of years too, right? They built the railroad, stuff like that too, right? So they're a big part of Canada. They're not, but like what was going on in Brampton Hospital, I've heard I've told guys like they have to go to Georgetown because they're white, and it's written in Hindi and stuff like that. Like this shouldn't be even written in Hindi at all in the fucking hospital. I don't care who the fuck built it. The rules are the rules. So that's that, right? It should be written in English only, English and French only. Like you'll have to learn to get a relative to translate it for you or something like that, but you'll have to learn to adopt our culture in certain aspects. You'll have to learn, like you should at least know how to speak French or English before you come here. Like I know of all kinds of people that have worked as ESL teachers abroad and stuff like that. So that should be a mandatory thing, right? Like I can't spell worth a crap, but I can read and my handwriting's kind of a small job, but I can read and I can write and stuff like that. So we're not asking you to enter a spelling bee or something like that, but a basic comprehension of the fucking English or French language, that should be a mandatory thing, right? We should have like literacy, English or French literacy skills before you even come here. Like you have to meet requirements. You have to meet, right? Or it's just like we can't have you. And I know you guys study English and all stuff over there, so so what we're saying is adopt to the culture, man. Like we're not adopting to you anymore because it's like we've had enough of that and it doesn't work. Like, I don't want your way of life. Put it that way, right? I'm quite happy with my cultural way of life, right? The original thing. That's what drawed you here. If I had wanted your way of life, I would have moved there. Does that make sense to you? Right? So Italians come here and make speak, like they're a prime example. They come here, they speak English, they work really hard, do really successful. And that's another thing. It's like I don't know, black communities. Like you could just look at them. Like what's stopping you? Like they came here as immigrants. You've been here for 100 years, and like America, anyways. They work really hard. They might call themselves. Like I was talking to one guy. We might call each other wops to a certain degree, but not like the way you guys call each other niggers and stuff like that. That's ridiculous, right? You're putting your hustle and like the coke game and all that stuff. You should really be putting it into like I don't know, like starting your own company or something like that, and like start your own business office or some shit like that, or start your own construction company or something like that. That's where fucking money. That's where you put your hustle in, right? Get you a bunch of your homeboys fucking working for you, right? You're making all the profit. They're getting paid. They're getting fed, right? That's where the fucking money is at, man. Not this fucking like thug life shit, man. That goes nowhere, man. That gets you like right behind bars. Even The Rock. I'm surprised. I didn't know that about him. Like he has like a thug life shirt. That's for fucking chumps. That's for fucking losers, man. Thug life. It's like that'll end you up behind bars, and back on welfare stamps when you get the fuck out, right? Learn. Should be learning to do something with your life, right? Like they said, like the liberals had them all. A lot of the members of the black community in America on food stamps for years. They had learned helplessness, man. Like um, shouldn't do that. It's like like shit. Like I'd like to see more black cops and stuff like that too, right? Because like people they can go in the community and gain more trust and stuff like that, right? Into black communities and gain trust. So it would be easier as a bunch of like white oh welcome but that would be much better, right? Just I don't know. We really need to start really examining like because things are kind of a mess right now. There's no two ways about that. Like the baby boomers are great and their cultural influences are iconic, right? They really uh, set a precedent and left a huge shoes to fill. But um, they're done now, and I'm glad they're done, right? Because now it's our time, right? Because like we're gonna loosen restrictions and do more things, right? Like they held back when they should have kept on going forward. They were making great progress, and all of a sudden they just stopped, right? They just stopped going forward for some reason. All of a sudden, right? They just stopped. So I think they're whatever they've done and their accomplishments. That's it. Like I see all these bitter old people staring at me funny. Well, I guess that just like think of how your parents were when you were taking over. So yeah, most of our generations we're not really liberals, right? We're kind of conservatives. We're like I like George Bush better, right? I mean, I did. I liked it. We miss Stephen Harper. Everyone says that we miss Stephen Harper. So we more tend to agree to conservatives. But like I do have like I did like Bill Clinton too, right? I like John Chrétien as well, right? Um, they did some good things too, right? So I'm like I say I'm a libertarian. Like I got some liberal aspects to me. Like I do support a universal healthcare, but like at the same time I need to get the oil out the ground to pay for this shit, right? A guy at work said like the NDP is too socialist, right? Well, they're too like cut and dry. Like, okay, I want to stop using all this oil altogether, blah, blah, blah. Or I gotta get the money to pay for the infrastructure to build these charging stations for these electric cars and stuff like that. I might as well use it while I can, but yeah, 2050 is an excellent time to get off the oil. But until then, I might as well use that oil now to get my country rich, to pay for all this shit. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me, right? It's just common sense. They're just too like oh no, we can't because we'll go broke, right? Like we need that money, right? We need Calgary needs to eat, man, and stuff like that. We need to get the money to pay for the infrastructure, to put these charging stations in and like assemble these. We can make those in Thunder Bay. We can make those charging stations in Thunder Bay. Uh, why not? Other economies, they stop making planes. What the fuck they do with it? Start making these new charging stations for the electric car in Thunder Bay. But we need money to pay for that, to put the infrastructure. You can't just do that overnight. That'll take quite a while to do, right? It's not a huge feat to do, like start converting everything from oil to charging station. But we'll have to do that in gradual steps. Because when you rush into stuff like that, you tend to make mistakes. Just like that's the thing. It's just like gradually, right? I'm thinking 2050 is a good time to get off oil, right? By then the oil companies will probably be the guys running the charging stations anyways, right? So they'll be like, oh, okay, what do I care, right? But like Leonardo DiCaprio, like we should be focusing a lot on E-class things because that's how the combustible engine got developed so well because of the race cars and stuff like that. But when we start doing E-class, focus on that would make better. In the end, we get learn from that and make better better e-cars, right? So, like I said, the world is changing. I don't know, like getting on 5G, let China on our 5G, probably not a good idea. But that'll actually, and things are getting more automated too, like the cars and stuff like that, right? So self-driving cars on the 5G network. But to get, like everyone else kind of said no to China on that, it's like, little potato, I tend to agree with that, man. Like that's not a good idea. You made some, I hope we don't see you again because you made some really hasty moves and some unpleasant moves. I'm saying Maxime Bernier. But like at the same like that's what I'm voting for, right? That's why I'm gonna throw my clout behind my weight. But at the same time, uh, anyone but Justin Trudeau, right? Like I listen to all those other candidates, and they all had some good valid points, but uh, that I like Maxime Bernier myself. It's like that's who I'm voting for. I'm a libertarian, and these things happen for a reason. Anyways, until tomorrow, appiendo.